Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? Bob Volks here for the Gilly Glue. We got some exciting things we're doing today. Today we're going to talk about some seed. My good friend Ryan here with us is going to ask some questions in terms of some things that, being sort of a new birder, and what to use and what the industry standards are like, and all kinds of things. So welcome to the Gilly Glue.
All right. Well, Bob, I'm a first-time birder.
Yes, sir.
I'm getting set up in my yard.
That's what we're about.
Now I need some seed.
Yeah.
Tell me what we have here, these three different blends.
So we have several different blends, but these are kind of our three main. We have our Seasons Urban, our Seasons Woodland, so this is our urban blend, this is our rural blend, and then we have our garden friendly blend. And the Seasons portion of these two things are that it's changed twice a year, so that spring, summer is very high in proteins, fall, winter is very high in carbohydrates. So obviously the carbohydrates are for the birds to produce heat, and they essentially, our winter birds, eat to create heat, so that's very important for them. And then the high protein levels are for the migratory bird coming back in the spring and the nesting bird.
Right. Okay. So with the two Seasons blends, what's inside?
So all of our blends, any blend that we have here, and there's probably up to 17 different varieties that we can have here, but all of our blends are batch blended. So there's specific types of ingredients that go into the blender and make the blends based on the study of birds.
Right.
So there's absolutely no waste, no filler, and it's the highest grade seed products that are available on the marketplace that are put in the blends. So when we say what's in them, it varies, not only because of the seasonal adjustments, but it also varies based on the scientific study of the locational blend. So we have similar ingredients in both blends of different quantities, but we also have some things in, say, the Woodlands blend, for instance, that isn't in the urban, and vice versa, because of the different types of bird populations based on where people live. So things in the rural blend, for instance, like cracked oyster shell for grit, dried cranberry for the songbird, for the cardinals, and the rose-breasted grosbeak, and those guys that come back. And I'd like to touch on the grit a little bit when we first start to talk about it, because everybody sees, particularly in the wintertime, you see birds along the roadside, and they're eating salt for grit. And the cracked oyster shell that's in here, not only is it providing them with a high value, food value, but it's a safer product than them being along the roadside trying to get some salt and stuff and to grit for them to eat. So all of our blends are built based on the quality, the quantity of the seed product, but also the safety factor. So for instance, peanuts and our steel cut corn, for instance, not handled properly, not packaged properly, are very, very toxic. So we work on that from that safe level also.
And blend number 3 on the end there, I noticed not a lot of sunflower seeds in that one.
Well,
what's the main difference there?
Yeah, so actually there is, if we look. So the garden friendly variety is essentially very similar to one of these other blends, but all of the hulls have been removed.
Right.
So it's for the very extensive gardener. We even have some senior folks that, for instance, love this in the wintertime because then they don't have the hull waste to clean up in the spring.
Right.
And if you think about the hull, it's the protection mechanism for the seed inside. So it doesn't decompose the same as the seed would. The seed actually disappears in a very, very short period of time, whereas the hull is the resilient part of the process because it's protect the seed.
Right.
So when you remove the hull off here, this will decompose in the yard, and any remaining things aren't there. You don't get the waste on your deck. But then for the gardener that has extensive rocker, we have several different customers that are very elaborate gardeners, and they don't want the waste, but they also don't want any germination.
Right.
Because they're of their extensive gardens. Now there's no waste, there's no fillers, there's no weed seeds, there's no anything in it, but still anything that has a pod will germinate.
Okay.
So whether it's a sunflower seed or a corn or anything.
Okay.
So this is very, very popular actually for a lot of different reasons.
So as a first-time birder, I get my seasonal blend.
Yep.
What can I expect to see at my feeders? once I fill them up with this stuff?
Yeah, so I always say that we get birds in summer that we don't get in winter, and we get birds in winter we don't get in summer.
Right.
So therein lies the part of the adjustment in terms of the food value, but it depends. So then we start to talk about, where are you? Are you an urban birder or are you a rural birder? Where is it that and what's your yard like? So often when people come in and they'll say, I'm just getting started, we want to get the kids involved in this and what have you, what do I do? I answer their question with more questions, because it's the only way to really determine what direction we should go is to find out what your yard is like. Are you heavily treed? Is it, are you urban but have like a rural component or green space behind your place? If you're out in the rural community, are you in open field area or are you in dense bush? That type of thing is the big determining factor there. So types of birds depend on habitat. If we go out with any people or go anywhere or do anything, we say don't look for birds, look for habitat.
Right.
So it depends on your habitat, and then it depends on the presentation of the specific type of feeder. All of these work very, very well with very robust hopper style feeders or big silo tubes. We have a couple of big silo tubes that they work very, very well in. And then the feeder then dictates a little bit of what bird. So you're going to get your finches, your nuthatches, blue jays, rose-breasted grosbeaks, cardinals, all of those things. And we start to think about it. So we have 2 species of nuthatches. We have very regular visitors at feeders are at least 3 species of woodpeckers. We have our rose-breasted grosbeaks in the summertime. We have our cardinals in the year-round. American goldfinch, purple finch, house finch, common redpolls, pine siskins, all those things. So this is all dedicated to all those different types of species of birds.
Now, outside of these, I know just from walking around the store, there's a couple other blends. Do you want to touch on any of the specialty type blends? You talked about cardinals, you talked about finches.
Right.
What can I offer them? Once I, kind of get addicted to this stuff, where can I kind of grow out of there?
Yeah. So I'll talk about our woodlands for one, because it has a high concentration of black oil sunflower seed, gray striped sunflower seed, and safflower, which is kind of a base product for a lot of different birds. And as an example, we do have a cardinal blend, which is specific for cardinals. So it's a black oil sunflower and a safflower mixture. Only those 2 ingredients. But these baseline products will kind of cover everybody from that perspective. But then we do have another blend that's in between these 2, which is a town and country. Kind of takes in both sides of the locational factors that these play into.
Okay.
And then we really kind of get specific on our finch food. Because of the origin of Niger seed, not only is there multiple different species of Niger, but it all comes from India.
Okay.
And it's from like 0 to 200 in terms of quality. So we source a much higher quality product that is actually part of the black oil sunflower seed. Black oil sunflower seed family is what I'm trying to say. The black oil actually, and why we call it a black oil sunflower seed, is because it is very, very high in protein. It's the highest protein-based seed that is in any ingredient.
Okay.
And our Niger seed is the same. It's very, very high in food value and very, very high in protein. And one of the things that happens with Niger, because it comes from India, there's some Canadian regulations on that it has to be heated.
Okay.
So that it ensures that there's no invasive species coming into the country. Well, what happens in a lot of circumstances with poor quality Niger seed, as an example, is that it gets sent to a packaging facility offshore somewhere. It's a high moisture product, gets put in a plastic bag and then put in a container and brought to North America. Half the time it's rancid by the time it gets here.
I'm sure.
And then they heat it. And the heating, if it's not done properly, basically cooks it. So that there's no food value in it at all.
Wow.
So if you think about, I don't know, think of you're going to put a steak in the barbecue. You don't cook the thing till it's gone.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Some people.
Some people do, yeah. But so it's that same kind of context. if you overcook something, there's no food value in
Right.
it. So if it's a very poor quality product to start with, you overcook it, put it in a plastic bag, it's high moisture, sour by the time it gets here.
Right.
So all seed is not created equal in any capacity that's in the marketplace. And that's where we started with our business, is this seed product is the mainstay of the business. And people don't realize that a seed's a seed in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah.
And it's far from it, actually.
Yeah.
Very, very far from it. So our Niger seed is very important to us for the finches, particularly because of that birds in winter that we don't get in summer, and birds in summer we don't get in winter thing. Finch feeders are phenomenal to have in your yard year round. There's a very diverse group of birds that you'll see.
All right. Well, I think that answers most of my questions, Bob. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you
Where
very
are we
much.
going?
Yeah, it's time to get your feeder up and get things going. And and we can do some really cool things too with window feeders and all kinds of different aspects that will bring some diversity into your yard. And that's no matter what it is. It's that variety, we have a different style of feeder for a specific style of food, but also for a specific bird. So like cardinal, we talked about them as an example, and it's on our logo. It's something that's very important to us. They're a ground feeder by nature, so they don't perch very well. So we sort of present the feeding style of the bird with a specific feeder.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks for coming in, really appreciate it.
Thanks for chatting with me.
You betcha, anytime.
All right.